The other question I had pertaining to the bylaw relates to page number, let's see here. Actually, it's not numbered, but it references parking meter rates. There's a couple right at the back. There's some parking meter rates. I note in here that, it's the first time I think I've seen this, but it talks about the parking meter rates downtown and other parts of, in Annville Centre, et cetera. It does have a little asterisk in, and it does say that the fees that we see here include the climate action levy of 25 cents per hour. So I have a two-part question. First, how much do we collect by way of a climate action levy on parking in the city of New West? I'd be interested in knowing that. And secondly, I note that the report doesn't have that climate action levy on the Annville Centre parking. So I just want clarity on and Front Street parking. Like it has it on some of the parking, but not all of the parking. So I'm wondering if, first of all, am I reading that correctly? And if we don't apply it to all the parking, why is it that the climate action fee is charged on some parking and not all parking?
Probably Director of Engineering, maybe?
I'm going to give this one a shot, and I'm going to commit to getting back to you with a more fulsome answer. So when that was introduced, the initial objective was to introduce it to on-street parking rates, so the parking pay stations, and I believe we apply that to the parking permit fees as well. Mm-hmm. It was not applied to parking, to the parkades, and I would have to go back to my notes and recall why. So the idea was to apply it to the parking uses that were, anyways, I'm not gonna keep talking. I'll get back to you with more details after I check in with staff.
Okay, that's helpful, just because it would appear to me at first blush anyways, reading this report, that there's an inconsistency around the application of the climate action levy, which I'm not going to get into a debate on that tonight. That's for a separate discussion. But if we're going to have the climate action levy, why it only applies to certain parking and not all parking? And then, and then the second part of the question was around revenue generation. If we know, if we're able to pull that out as to what the revenue generation is on the climate action levy pertaining to parking in the city.
Director of Finance?
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair to Councillor Fontaine. So these I guess the revenue that we generate on that is about $300,000 a year.
Okay, so $300,000 on the street parking component only. Correct. Okay, that's great.
Thank you very much.
The next question, Mr. Mayor, pertains to energy and climate action. I note that there are, I believe, 4.5 FTE vacancies now within that department. It's a two-part question. And first, how many FTEs do we have allocated in total in our climate action department? And secondly, if possible tonight, if even if it's a ballpark, can you advise how many bylaw officers we have in the city? Because I keep hearing a number bouncing around. I've heard 2, but I just wanted to confirm how that compares to, for example, the climate action department.
Okay, I think those are 2 separate questions on FTEs. Maybe the CAO could probably be the best one to answer any of them, if she can get the button on. Okay.
No, okay, get a button on. So Jackie T can answer the bylaw one, and Dave Baines, can you answer the climate one, or should we report back? We'll report back on the climate one. Yeah. And Jackie, can you answer the bylaw one tonight?
So the city's enforcement activities are broken into a number of different sections. In the Planning and Development Department, we currently have the integrated services, which is property use bylaws. The city also has parking bylaw enforcement, animal control bylaw enforcement, the community liaison officers who are not bylaw enforcement officers, but they do work in the community to help maintain consistency with regulations. And so in terms of what we have as an integrated services property use bylaws, we have 3 positions. One is currently filled, 2 are vacated right now, and we are currently in the process of looking at reclassifying those positions to better align them with the contemporary needs of a city to do enforcement.
Okay, perhaps it would be helpful to, if we could in this round, if we could get a breakdown of the total number and where these bylaw officers are. I've been here 3 years, and I must admit, I'm still struggling to figure out how many actual because I keep hearing this number 2, but it just doesn't seem to be congruent with what I'm hearing. So if I could get an update on that, that would be appreciated. And just to clarify through, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager, so we are not able to, we don't have the information on how many climate action staff. We have even a ballpark figure. I don't need an exact amount, but just even a ballpark figure.
Through the CAO.
Well, we're checking, so if we have a number shortly, we
I have a
will let you
couple
know.
other questions,
Yeah.
so maybe, by
Yeah.
the time we.
And I've noted the bylaw officer breakdown question. as well.
Okay, yeah.
Director of Energy and Climate Action?
Hi, yeah, through the chair. So we have 7 FTEs in climate action. One of them is partially funded through BC Hydro.